Faithfulness depends on two things: training and commitment. When I was around 7 years old, my mother began teaching me about tithing. I had a list of weekly chores, and if I completed my chores, she would pay me 10 cents. It may seem silly, but every Friday we would go through the same routine. She would hand me a dime, which I would then give back to her in exchange for a nickel and 5 pennies. Then my mother would help me fill out a tithe envelope in which I would place 1 penny. We repeated this exercise week after week, which taught me to be faithful in my work and faithful in tithing. It was woven into my life at an early age, and I haven't ever deviated from the practice of returning God's tithes. Some people experience miraculous stories of God's providence in regards to tithing, especially during crisis moments in their lives. I can't recall any such stories, but I have a favorite verse that sums up our tithing experience. In Psalm 37:25, David writes, "I have been young, and now am old, yet I have not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his descendants begging bread." Looking back on our life, God has never forsaken us or let us go hungry. In fact, He's worked in ways we didn't see at the time we were going through it. One such instance happened less than a year into our marriage. Sheryl was working as a nurse, but in the process of changing jobs. For about a month, we were without insurance as she transitioned to new employment. On April 1, we were reinsured. 6 days later, Sheryl experienced a collapsed lung, which required surgery and 17 days in the hospital. If that medical crisis had occurred 6 days earlier, we would have been in real trouble, but God spared us from financial disaster. More recently, right before retiring from nursing, Sheryl underwent her 7th back surgery. After the surgery, she was unable to return to work, but because she had been working full-time before the surgery, she qualified for disability insurance. Once again, God protected us from a major financial crisis. We can't see the future, so we couldn't have predicted those unexpected medical emergencies. Fortunately, we serve a God who knows the beginning from the end, and as Psalm 37:25 says, God won't forsake the righteous. He provides for us even when we don't know that we need His provision, a truth we continue to experience in retirement. We never expected to be parents again, but in 2019, we became the legal guardians of our 2 grandchildren. Raising children costs money, especially if you want them to be an Adventist education. But we've remained committed to their schooling, and God has faithfully provided for our needs. Life is made up of small building blocks that may seem unimportant at the time, but result in lasting significance. The tithing routine my mother and I practiced every Friday taught me the value of being faithful to God. In turn, we have received untold blessings from a good Father who promises never to leave us or forsake us. Taste and see